Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and boy, there's a lot to get into tonight, so I'm not gonna waste any time. There's a lot that happened since the last time I've talked, which was Saturday, and Lord, let's just get into it. So the first thing, Keandre Miller, who was thought to maybe be playing tonight, ended up not. He is on the beer flu protocol list, which is gut-wrenching because I thought he was about to be back, and now he's on there, so who knows, maybe he was just exposed, we don't know yet. That happened like an hour before puck drop that we found that out, and I was just sitting there getting ready for the game, getting excited to probably have Miller back, and then I get that punch to the gut, which was awful. So that happened. Capo Caco is still out again on the beer flu protocol list. That sucks. Filipino looks like he might be back soon, which would be fantastic. It'd be nice to have another center. And specifically him, he looked pretty good in his first few games. And now onto the big elephant in the room, right? The big Russian elephant in the room. Artemi Panarin on a leave of absence for rumored to be 2 weeks, probably more, and okay. So news broke Monday morning. I'm just going to go from the very start of this. Now, I was going to make a video talking about it, but I realized that my emotions the morning and the day that it happened, and even yesterday, before I really started to cool off today, would have just been like a 15-minute video of me screaming, "I want my player back, Russia give him back." And I realized that isn't good content, right? That's not what I should be trying to do. I should actually give reasons for why I'm upset. Now, like I said, Monday news breaks. Artemi Panarin rumored to have beaten up an 18-year-old woman in a Russian bar in 2011. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Now, first off, if true, awful, awful thing. Awful thing, no excuse, bad, should get a big suspension. That's it. If that's true, that's it. Now, there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that says it isn't. First thing that says it isn't. He had teammates with him at the time in the bar that said it wasn't true, which I think was kind of funny. That they were just like, yeah, that's not even close to being accurate. So that first is going with him. Second, now granted, I don't know Artemi Panarin personally. Obviously, I'm an idiot from Florida. But I don't think he seems like the type of person who would do that. I don't know him personally, but he doesn't seem like that person. Next, this was a month after Artemi Panarin took shots at Vladimir Putin, who is the Russian president, which I would almost say in air quotations. Now, the person who forwarded this, what's the word I'm looking for, report against Panarin was an old KHL coach who is, this is a direct quote from sources and from other articles, a Putin puppet who loves and sticks up for Vladimir Putin. Again, a month after Artemi Panarin took shots at him. So, people were kind of expecting some sort of recoil, repercussion for Panarin for saying those things, and this seems to be that. Now, another thing is this guy is mentally unstable, and almost everything you read will say that he is not a good person, which, tends to put the question of his, what's the word I'm looking for, reputability in question, There's that. There's the fact that the team, the New York Rangers, almost an hour later came out in full support and said that these are completely unfounded and didn't just word it in a way that's like, yes, we want to help our player any way we can. It was, yeah, this is 100% fake, which a team, especially in a market like New York, wouldn't do that if there was any chance, at least to me, if there was any chance of the report being true. And along with that, the NHL also said a very similar statement, which again, a major sports league wouldn't come out in defense of it if there was any chance of it being true. All of this is from a person who for a while has had an axe to grind against Artemi Panarin, and also was quoted once saying that any Russian athlete who makes anti-Putin remarks should be put in prison without a toilet. All of this is sad and political, and I don't like talking about it. Hopefully it's just 2 weeks. I thought it would be way longer than that. But then today, police from Russia where that happened said that there is no report or no, what's the word I'm looking for, charges or anything against him or even a report of it. So they're not doing anything like that. So I don't think he should have to leave the U.S., which that would help him get back on the ice quicker if he doesn't have to leave the U.S. of A. And yeah, that was a crazy Monday and Tuesday. And then today, another report came out about it. This is again kind of hinting, or maybe this was yesterday, I don't freaking know. It just all clumps together now. Sort of also aiming in the direction of it's probably very unlegitimate, was that a week ago a paper was sent the story, but included that Panarin, God, I hate saying this because I try to keep this very where anyone can enjoy this and anyone can watch it, allegedly raped the woman, and I can't look at the camera while I say that. And then, after that paper said, yeah, this is 100% not true, we are not publishing this, then he dropped that portion of the story and sent it to a Russian tabloid who picked it up in a heartbeat because it's a Russian tabloid. So, that's very heavy, and that took almost 6 minutes, so that's out of the way. Now, on to the actual game, which is what I'm supposed to be doing here. Almost immediately, the Rangers defense, which was awful tonight and comically bad, gives up a great scoring chance to Claude Giroux right in front of the goal, which was, in a way, hilarious, and Shesterkin makes a nice glove save. I feel bad or weird saying that Shesterkin looked pretty darn good tonight because he gave up 4 goals, but he made so many fantastic stops, and he still had 35 saves, that it's kind of like, yeah, our defense is just pathetic tonight, man. So, 14:23, or 14:29, left in the period. Rangers have 6 men on the ice. We take too many men. Penalty. Flyers get their first of 8. 8. Count them, 8 power plays. And I wrote down how happy I was with our power play, and then immediately afterwards, Shesterkin gives up a bad goal. This was one. There were other goals tonight that Shesterkin gave up. This one was actually a bad goal. He should have had this goal. Sometimes goalies make mistakes. There's no excuse for this one. This was just a bad goal to give up. And that's really about it. Flyers up 1-0. However, that was not on the power play. No matter how many times they tell you they scored on their first power play, they did not. So, 10:32 left in the period. A hooking call is called for one of the Flyers for hooking against Mika Zibanejad, and the Rangers get their power play, their first one of the game. Before I finished writing down that, we scored on the power play. 4 seconds in, Fox gets the puck. He puts it over to Mika Zibanejad. One-timer on goal, stopped, rebound, Krieder right in front, and he scores. 1-1, Rangers tie it. The Rangers found a very good method tonight, which was put puck in front of net near Krieder, let Krieder score. And it worked very well for the game. It happened more than once, and I'll get to those in a moment. So a little bit later, 5:47 left in the period. Rangers take a slashing call. Philly gets their second, again, of 8 power plays. 8. Did I mention they had 8 power plays? I should really mention that they had 8 power plays, and it's insane. So that happens on said penalty kill. The Rangers, Mika Zibanejad gets a breakaway, and he almost had it. It was a backhand. Now, to his defense, the puck was rolling and on its side the entire time, so I'm not super like, oh, you should have had that. It was hard, and it was a backhand as well. But, hey, you know what? To this point, he had a shot on goal, 2 shots on goal and an assist. So he looked better tonight than he had in the past, dozen games. He was looking good. 4:29 left in the period. Now, this is where you could see the Rangers defense start to break down, which tends to happen when you're missing 2 of your 4 best defensemen in Keandre Miller and Jacob Trouba. The Flyers are on the power play. They're setting up shop in the Rangers zone, and one of the Flyers is just behind Shesterkin with no one anywhere near him, so they just toss it over to him for a little tip-in. Of course that's going to work. There was no one near him. Now, I understand it was a power play for them, so I understand we were down a skater. But no one's even going to be like, hey, bud, can you not be right there? Really? We're just going to let him be wide open? Like a freaking 7-Eleven, just wide open. No one nearby. So that sucked. A little bit later on, 3:05 left in the period, 3:40 left in the period. The Flyers take a tripping call, so the Rangers get a power play. 5:05, 3:05. I swear I know what I'm talking about. Takes the puck into the Flyers zone. He carries it on in. Puts it over. This beautiful pass for Colin Blackwell, who I thought was doing really well. And he flubs it. And it sucked. Because that could have been helpful if we had another goal. I wonder what would the score have been if we had that goal. So, that sucks. We do nothing with the power play. Period ends. And despite being down 2-1, I felt pretty confident going into the second period. I was like, you know what? I understand we're down, but you know what? We're doing very well. On to the second period, almost immediately, Brodzinski, who we called up because, we have no players, just kicks the puck onto the tape of a Flyer alone in front of the net. And I can only assume that the shock of Brodzinski, for first off, giving up that terrible of a turnover, was equal to the shock of the Flyer, who went, "Did you just give me the puck on my tape right in front of your goalie?" And that shock was probably almost as big of Shesterkin's going, "Oh my god, you gave up the puck right in front of me. What are you doing?" Somehow Shesterkin makes a save, and it remains a one-goal game. Somehow, I don't understand how. So a little bit later on, 17:06 left in the period. Brendan Smith takes a hooking call. It's going to be the third of 8. They had 8 power plays. Have I mentioned that? It's their third power play. And 15:55 left. It was kind of heart-wrenching, if I'm being completely honest with you. Again, he's just wide open on the side of the net. He's wide open on Shesterkin's right side, particularly. No one was there. No one was there to just try to even stop him from being that wide open. I mean, this is Randy Moss with 20 yards all around him. I'm not saying that he's Randy Moss. I'm just making the point of there was no one. I mean, what's going to happen, obviously. So they score. Our penalty kill's looking bad. And it's 3-1 at this point. I'm kind of getting a little bummed out because, it's 3-1 and our defense looks special. Let's just put it like that. And then immediately after that, 15:49 left. And would you look at that? Gauthier takes a penalty for high sticking. They get another power play. Their 4th power play of the night. They had 8. Have I mentioned that? So I'm losing my mind a little bit. But I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe we can keep it a 1-goal game. 15:27 left in the period, and Buchnevich puts the puck over the glass. That's a penalty. That means it's a 5-on-3. That means they get their 5th power play. They had 8 power plays. Have I mentioned that yet? I feel like I haven't mentioned that yet, because we gave up 8 power plays in a singular game. We were almost averaging 3 per period, which, for reference, now granted they weren't all served out, because obviously, but if all of them went to the full 2 minutes, that's insane. That is so much time. Like, it's insane to think about. I can't do math in my head really well. Continuing on, right? 14:40 left in the period. There's this unreal glove save. There were so many great saves by Shesterkin on this 5-on-3. It was kind of incredible. A little bit later on in the period, right? We somehow kill off that. 12:29 left in the period, and Flyers take a power play. The Rangers get their 3rd of the night. And I'm like, okay, maybe we can do something here. Maybe we can make it a 1-goal game. And we actually would. So, Strome has the puck and passes it over to Mika Zibanejad, who takes a one-timer. And I'm thinking to myself, I've seen this one before in my best Marty McFly impression. And the shot is stopped and rebounded, and I thought to myself, I know I've seen this one before. And then Chris Krieder happened to be right in the blue paint, and I'm pretty sure even he probably said, hey, I've seen this one before. He scores, and it's 3-2. Almost identical. It was on the power play, it was on a Zibanejad one-timer, it was in the paint, and it was a Krieder goal. It was almost identical to the first power play goal, to the point where it's kind of hilarious, and I thought it was kind of funny, and I'm like, hey, well, at least I got to see this one, and it was basically the first one. A little bit later on, 8:47 left in the period, a 2-on-1 rush starts to form for the Flyers. Adam Fox makes this great sliding play to just barely break it up with the very tip end of his stick. It was great and holds them up for just enough time for them not to get anything going on that rush, and they keep it a 1-goal game for a little bit, 3-2. Then, with 5:23 left in the period, Hayes, the ex-Ranger, just has this beauty. It was just a trick shot, it felt like, almost. I mean, yeah, maybe if Shesterkin was positioned a little bit better, he could have stopped it. But, I mean, that was just such a beauty of a goal. I'm not going to get mad. That was more so a goal than a goal given up by Shesterkin. It was a beaut for Hayes. Like, I can't be that mad. A little bit later on, 4:23 left in the period, Lingard puts the puck over the glass, and it is the sixth power play that the Flyers went on, and I can't get over this. We kill it off somehow. A little bit later on, 1:31 left in the period, and a Flyer, the best way I can describe it is tries to murder Ryan Lingard. I felt like there could have been 4 different penalties called. on that play. I mean, I felt like it could have been tripping, it could have been roughing, it ended up being boarding, it could have been hooking, it could have been anything, really. Like, you legitimately, if you were the ref, you could have just been like, I don't even have to try on this one. I know it's a penalty. I can say anything. It also would have been funny if he would have just skated out to center ice and went, penalty on the Flyers for... I mean, look at the play. There's so much to go off of. Like, I could call anything, really, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. And then skate it off. Like, there was so much. And I was very nervous at the moment, just because whenever I see anyone go neck first into the wall, I get nervous. I think that is a very normal human reaction, because you're going neck first into a wall at 1,000 miles an hour because it's hockey. He's okay. And we go on to the third period, and it's still 4-2. But you know what? There's at least hope. You know, maybe we can start to make a good comeback in the third. 16:33 left in the third period. Blackwell takes a shot, and it's rebounded. I've seen this one before. I swear I have. Lindgren apparently touches it. I didn't see Lindgren touch it. I mean, I'm just saying from what I saw. And then, in the blue paint, off a rebound, Chris Krieder scores. And if I can count, which I'm pretty sure I can, that's a hat trick for Chris Krieder. His first of the season, his first since 2016, and the Rangers pull within one on Kreider's hatty, the first hat trick by a Ranger this season. And I'm like, oh my god, there's a chance we actually have a shot here. We ended up not. There was just like a dozen or so, it felt like at least, breakaways given up to the Flyers. I believe 2 of them were even to Claude Giroux, like back to back. Shesterkin somehow stopped all of them in the third period, all the different breakaways, and there were quite a few of them. A little bit later on, 10:45 left in the period, there was a penalty for hooking on the Flyers. The Rangers get a power play. We wouldn't end up doing anything with that, which sucked. Moving on, 5:38 left in the period. Rangers take a penalty. Their 7th of the game. We gave up 8 power plays tonight. Now, nothing happens with that. Except for one thing, and I know this is really irrelevant, but I had to bring it up because I thought it was hilarious. Shesterkin made this blocker save while standing up. Now, back in the day when goalies had, relatively thin padding and not much to wear on their chest and, a thin blocker and a smaller glove and just like a little mask, they looked kind of normalish standing up. But watching goalies in modern day goalie equipment make standing up saves is hilarious. And the butterfly is a very important part of the sport and has really helped it come so far. So I'm not going to say anything like we should get rid of butterflying. That'd be idiotic. But it is incredible to see goalies in our current day pads make standing up saves. That has nothing to do with anything. I just had to mention it because it made me laugh out loud. So 2:10 left in the period or thereabouts. We pull Igor Shesterkin. We try to get something going, and after a mix of meh shots, bad control, and a couple of saves on our own net by players who were not a goalie, it ends. But oh wait! 8 seconds left, and the Rangers give up the 8th power play of the game. I understand there was no time left, and I understand that it was in the heat of the moment, and it was too many men on the ice penalty. I don't care. We gave up 8 power plays tonight. That is unacceptable. Another thing that's unacceptable is the defense tonight. It was laughably bad. It was, I mean, I have no words for how bad it was. It looked like we forgot to game plan for defense. It really did. It was kind of embarrassing. Now, the upsides, because there are a few, I thought, even though we gave up 4 goals, and you might say that 35-39 doesn't sound too impressive, especially with 4 goals, I thought Shesterkin looked really nice tonight, man. I'm going to be honest. I thought he looked good. There were so many high-quality saves that he made tonight. I was shocked. And this is to talk about how bad the defense is. This is really relevant here, right? The Flyers have been averaging, I believe it was 23 shots on goal per game this year. That's dead last in the league. They had 39. They almost had 40 shots tonight. That's how bad the defense was. Now, I thought Fox and Lindgren played pretty good. Lindgren took the bad penalty, but I thought they played good hockey. It was just the other 4 defensemen that looked ghastly. Now, the upsides. I thought Shesterkin looked good. I thought Mika Zibanejad looked fantastic, and I thought Krieder looked fantastic. Obviously, you can't have a hat trick and not look good, even if they were all, you might say cheaper, right in the paint goals. So that was all good. Now, I hate being this person, right? I don't like saying it because you can what if anything. But, man, if we would have had the mixture of either Panarin or if we would have had Miller and Trouba, we'd probably win tonight. I don't like saying what ifs, but it sucked. And knowing that from the start of the season to now, we're missing so many players who were seemingly going to be good. We're missing Panarin right now. We're missing Trouba. We're missing Keandre Miller. We're missing Kapokaka. We're missing Philip Hedl, who was off to a great start. And I know everything that went down. I'm not saying this in like, I wish we still had him. I mean this in the way of like, I think a lot of us expected him to be a good contributor this season. But we're missing Tony DeAngelo again. He's gone. He should be. There was a whole lot going on with that, and I'm not upset that he's gone. That's not what I mean. But there are so many players that going into the season we expected to have that we just don't now, and it's kind of absurd. So, goals for tonight were Krieder, hatty. And the assists were 2 for Trouba, 1 for Fox, 1 for Strome, 1 for Blackwell, and 1 from Lingrid. Again, Igor Shesterkin was 35 of 39. He looked, dare I say, good. And that was it. In conclusion, the defense was bad, and if we have Miller back Friday, which I don't know if he will be, I don't know about anything or with any of those players. This could be the exact same roster we wheel out Friday against Boston. But speaking of that game against Boston on Friday, we're back home in Madison Square Garden, and for the first time in almost a full calendar year, granted, it's not a lot, but there is going to be Rangers fans in the Garden. Now, obviously, I'm not one of them. I'm in Florida. But I am ecstatic to hear real, true crowd noise again for the Rangers in the Garden. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for sticking through this really long video. I will see you all Friday to talk about that game. And as always, go Rangers.